I'm Froggy, and here is a My Froggy Stuff mashup. It is officially summer, so you know what that means. Time to break out the summer fashion. We picked out a few videos so your dolls can walk around in style. From a summer top to printed clothes, we got you covered. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Today, I feel like doing a little sewing. I can totally use a new top. So I am going to make a simple summer top for a doll using a cotton fabric, 1/8 of an inch elastic, a needle and thread, and a sewing machine. I start by laying my doll on the craft table. Place the fabric right next to it, and this is a thin cotton fabric that I found at Walmart for about $2 a yard. I can also use pre-cut quarters that can be found for about 99 cents. Now this top is going to be an off-the-shoulders peasant top. I wanted to start right above the chest and end at the waist. So I place the fabric on the doll, add 1/4 of an inch on the top and bottom for a seam allowance. On a piece of paper, I write down my measurements, and it comes to a total of 3 inches. And I like to keep a record of the measurements so I can duplicate the top later or make alterations if needed. Using a ruler, I softly make marks on the fabric, then move the ruler and continue going all the way down for about 12 inches. Fold over the fabric at the marks, make a crease, open it up, and cut on the crease, making a long strip of fabric. To prevent the edges from fraying, I set my sewing machine to a zigzag stitch, place the fabric under the machine, and sew along the edge. Trim off the loose thread, fold over 1/4 of an inch at the bottom, and at the top, I use an iron to make a crease, and remember to always have adult supervision when working with hot objects. After ironing the top and bottom, I set my machine to a straight stitch, then sew a straight line all the way down one side. Making a hem for the bottom edge. Now for the top edge, change the machine back to the zigzag stitch, take some elastic, and you can find this at Walmart for about 97 cents. Place the elastic on the fabric right in the middle of the top hem. Place it under the foot in the sewing machine. Lower the needle so it passes through the elastic and the fabric. Sew forward and backwards a few times to lock the stitch. Pull the elastic, then begin sewing. Keeping a constant steady pull on the elastic, making sure that the needle is going into the elastic and not just staying on the sides. When I get to the end, I can see that the elastic has gathered the fabric. Remove it from the machine, take the elastic and loop it back onto the fabric, stretch it out, place it into the machine and lower the needle into the elastic, keeping the elastic stretched and the fabric slightly stretched. Sew a zigzag stitch, keeping the 2 lines of elastic very close. When I get to the end, remove it from the machine, trim off the excess elastic and thread, creating a pretty double gathered edge at the top. And since we pulled both rows of elastic while sewing, it should be able to stretch. Lay the fabric down with the good side facing up, fold it in half, line up the edges, and sew a straight line going down. I'm using a straight stitch, and I start sewing at the flat edge and not the elastic side, because sometimes when I start on the elastic side, it gets caught in my machine. When I get to the end, I go forward, back, forward again. To lock the stitch and make sure the elastic is secure, Carefully trim off the excess thread, and it looks like a wide gathered skirt. To make it look like a top, place it on the doll with the seam in the back. Pinch the fabric around the doll's arm, thread a sewing needle, hand sew a straight, loose line to plan the sleeve. Repeat on the other side to plan both sleeves. Carefully remove the doll and sew a thin straight line going around the thread. So I place it in my sewing machine at the bottom hem, lower the needle right next to the line, sew alongside it. When I get to the end, lower the needle into the fabric, lift the foot, turn it, put the foot back down, sew a few stitches, lower the needle into the fabric, lift the foot, turn it, lower the foot, and sew back to the bottom hem. Trim the excess thread, cut between the machine sewn lines to separate the sleeve. Repeat on the other side to make the other sleeve. And usually when I make this top, I use all the same color thread. I am only using a contrasting color right now to make it easier to see. Once everything has been sewn and all the loose threads trimmed, turn it inside out. Use a wooden dowel or a paintbrush to gently push out the sleeves. Place it on the doll, feet first, to make a peasant top. And this is how I made tops for little Froggy and I. Only those are slightly larger. However, if the sleeves seem a little tricky, here is a second option. Make a long rectangle of fabric just as before, only this time we cut 15 inches. Hem the bottom and add the elastic to the top. With the good side facing down, wrap it around the doll's torso, pinch it in the back, sew a straight line going down, trim off the excess to make a sleeveless top. Take the remaining material, fold it over and cut it in half. With the good side facing up, fold it over, lining up the edges, sew a straight line along the raw edge, turn it inside out to make sleeves. Place them on the doll's arm to make the top. For the dolls, I prefer this option. We can hand stitch the sleeves to the top or keep them separate pieces so we can make sleeves that are different lengths and switch them out for a different style. Get creative with the sleeves by cutting a long strip of fabric, hem it on one side, sew a loose straight stitch on the other, pull the thread so it gathers. With good side to good side, line up the gathered edge with the bottom of the sleeve, sew them together with a straight line so that when it's flipped over, there is a ruffle at the bottom. Sew the elastic to the top, finish the sleeve just as before, turning it inside out to add a large ruffle to the bottom of the sleeve. Adjust the size to fit your doll, and you're done.
Happy crafting! We can never go back this road, you never go back that way. I see you standing in the corner like it's okay. Don't you know that you move with your body? Don't you know that you move with your body? We wanna go on, we wanna go night and day. I see you standing in the corner like it's okay. Don't you know that you move with your body? Don't you know that you move with your body? With your body. With your body.
Inspired by Forever 21, I am going to make some spring outfits for our dolls using fabric, Velcro, paper, pencil, measuring tape, and a needle and thread. I start by measuring around the doll's waist. For this doll, that is 3 3/4 inches. Measure from the waist to just below the knee, which is 4 1/2. Take a piece of white paper, fold it in half. On the fold, mark 4 1/2 inches. Then at the top, draw a line for the waist measurement. which was 3 3/4. At the bottom, I drew a line that's a little longer. This one is 4.5 inches. Then draw a line to connect them. Draw a waistband that is 3/4 of an inch longer than the waist, so that makes it a total of 4.5 inches. And I went 3/4 of an inch down to make my rectangle.
She's a roller coaster. Oh, she's a flame.
To make our pattern, lay out a thin cotton fabric, place the pattern on top, cut it out, sew a zigzag stitch around the edges to prevent fraying,
With her, I'm falling.
fold over and hem the bottom,
Try again.
and I sewed a loose straight line across the top so I can pull the thread to make a gather. Gather it until it lines up with the waistband. Take the waistband, fold it in half, line up the raw edges, and sew straight across. Then flip it over to attach the waistband. Then fold it over with the good side on the inside, line up the raw edges, measure over about 1/2 inch, then sew a straight line going all the way up, stopping a little halfway so it can open up to allow the doll to pass through. Turn it inside out, cut a piece of Velcro, fold over one side and sew on the hooks, then sew the loops onto the other side. Trim off the excess to make a simple high-waisted skirt. For a no-sew top, I take some stretchy white material. This is a dance fabric and it stretches both ways. Cut a rectangle and 3 inches wide. Fold it in half. On the folded side, begin trimming it so it is wide at one end, then narrows at the other. Coming to a point, open it up, cut armholes, and now it is ready to place on the doll. Place the doll's arms through the armholes, just like a vest. Take the tail ends and tie them in the front for a quick top. That's pretty close. I probably could have made the skirt a little more gathered. To make a pair of pants, I take a pair of Barbie pants, pull it apart at the seams, trace it onto a piece of paper, then make adjustments so the legs are longer, wider, and I added a higher waist. This is the back of my pants and this is the front. Draw the same waistband from earlier, then cut them out. Place them onto fabric, cut them out, cut the leg twice in a mirror image and one waistband. Stack the legs so the good side is on the inside. Sew down the straight edge, going around the curve and stopping. Make small cuts around the curve to release the tension, making sure not to touch the thread. Fold over and hem the bottom, then flip one of the pant legs up, grab the waistbands, and pull them through, matching them up to form the pants. Sew down the sides. On the front of the pants, I make 2 small pleats at the top on both legs so the top edge matches the waistband. Fold the waistband in half with the good side on the outside. Turn the pants right side out. Line the raw edges of the waistband with the raw edge at the top of the pants. Sew a straight line. Once sewn, flip the waistband up on the back of the pants. Fold over one side, cut and pull apart a piece of Velcro. Sew the hooks onto the inside of the fold. Sew the loops onto the opposite side so they overlap to close the pants, creating a pair of high-waisted trousers for the doll. This is a little different, but I like it with that top. And since it's no-sew, it's easy to make more than one. I decided to remake the skirt, only this time instead of being double the waist, it's 2.5 times the waist, which made a fuller skirt. And I think that looks better, giving us 2 simple looks to get the dolls ready for the spring. Thank you for joining us. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Instagram at MyFroggyStuff and the Frog Vlog. And you're done.
Happy crafting!
Money on my mind, tell my mommy I'm alright. Even laughing at the jokes you tell me. Keep myself inside the lies, need a daddy all the time. If you ask me, I am fine. Got no money on my mind.
Here is a quick craft. I made a printable doll outfit that is available on our blog, myfroggystuff.blogspot.com. Just click on the tab that says How to Print Printables and scroll down to the album, Patterns and Stuff, where you can select, download, and print our overall dress. And I included a scale to help get the measurements right. To make this dress, there are two options. We can print it on paper to make it no-sew, or if you don't mind a little sewing, we can print it on fabric, and we'll show you how to do that later. Let's start with the paper option. For the printables, I like to download the picture instead of dragging it to the desktop because it gives a sharper image. And I print on high quality. Then cut it out, going around all of the tabs. Cut out the paper straps, take the printable overalls, make cuts at the corners, then fold over the tabs at the dotted line. There are tabs on both ends, on the top, sides, the very top, and the bottom. On the straps, there are two dotted lines going down the center. Fold the sides over so the dotted lines are on the edge. Turn it over and use glue to hold down the tabs. Place it on the doll, wrapping the printable around the body and overlapping it in the back. Use glue or tape to secure it. I chose to use a little tape underneath. Tape or glue on the straps. Bend the paper to fit the doll's shape for no-sew printable overalls. And they look pretty good. There is some de-stressing at the bottom, buttons down the front. There is even the My Froggy Stuff logo on the back pocket. These paper overalls will look great in photos. And if your dolls want to do a little shopping... Wait, did you say shopping? However, they're not really good for sitting. Uh-oh! If you're looking for something a little more durable, let's try option number 2. Here, I printed the overalls onto fabric using freezer paper, a thin cotton fabric, and an inkjet printer. I first take freezer paper and lay it with the paper side facing up. If you look closely at the freezer paper, you'll see that one side is a little shiny. That's the plastic side. We want the other side, the paper side. Place a piece of computer paper on top, trace around it, cut the rectangle out, leaving a little edge, lay down a white cotton fabric, iron out the wrinkles, and remember to always have adult supervision when working with hot objects. And of course, I had to use a real iron, not a toy one. Lay down the freezer paper with the plastic side facing up, place the fabric on top, iron it again with no steam so the plastic sticks to the fabric. Turn it over to the paper side, cut on the line drawn to make fabric that can be placed in a printer. Warning! Most printers are made for paper, not fabric, so there is a chance that things can go horribly wrong and you could ruin your printer. So, you have been warned. Make sure to place it into the printer so that it prints onto the fabric side. And with that being said, it's time to print. Yay! It worked! The image is a little lighter than the paper, but you can still see a lot of detail. Peel the fabric from the freezer paper, cut it out. Starting with the straps, I fold over the sides and use a needle and thread to sew into place. Then place the strap face down on top of the overalls, lining up the edge with the top tab, and sew it into place. Then fold over the tabs and sew all the way across the top. Fold under and hem the bottom. On the sides, fold over and hem one of the tabs. Cut a piece of Velcro, pull it apart, sew the Velcro onto the side tabs, so they can overlap and close. Place it on the doll, sew the back of the straps onto the back of the dress to make a printable overall dress that can be used again and again. Thank you for joining us. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell. Follow us on Instagram at MyFroggyStuff and the Frog Vlog. And you're done. Happy crafting!
So many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up, time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up, time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up.
I am going to make a beach hat for a doll using cotton yarn, a plastic bag, something round, foil, and a clear drying glue. I start by finding an object to fit the doll's head. If one cannot be found, shape aluminum foil to the doll's head, carefully remove it, make a flattened ball of aluminum foil to fit underneath for support. I use another piece of foil to smooth it out and smooth out the bottom edge to make a model of the doll's head. If I'm using another object, I place foil over that as well. After smoothing it out, apply a clear drying glue, push one end of the yarn into the glue, then begin coiling it all the way around, applying glue as needed. Going all the way around. When it gets down to the bottom, I just continue to go around. To make a brim, trim off the excess, allow it to completely dry overnight. Once dried, carefully peel away the foil to have the shape of a hat. Now I have noticed that on the underside of some of my hats, the foil has left an impression in the glue. This isn't really a problem for the hats with a lot of pattern. However, on the darker hat, I want to cover this up. So I cut a circle out of a piece of fabric, then glue it to the inside of the hat. Allow it to dry, trim off the excess, to line the inside of the hat and give it a polished look. Use the oblong side of a large Easter egg, then covered it just as before, only this time we stopped at the bottom. Allow it to dry and carefully remove the foil. Gently flatten the bottom, push the sides in a little, cut 2 pieces of yarn the same length, glue them on the inside. I can even attach it to the bottom, go up the side and around to make a beach bag. Place long strands of yarn side by side on a smooth piece of foil, brush with glue, then continue adding yarn. Once I've reached the desired width, allow it to dry, then carefully peel it from the foil. And when making this project, it's really important that the foil is smooth so that it comes out smooth on both sides. Trim the ends to make a beach towel. And when deciding on a glue for this project, I chose Mod Podge because it keeps the items flexible. And a flexible fabric glue would also work as well. And you're done.
Happy crafting!
Joining us for this My Froggy Stuff mashup. Let us know what mashups you would like to see in the comments down below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Instagram at MyFroggyStuff and the Frog Vlog. And we will see you next time. Bye!